All right, here we go. Welcome everyone to CheeseCast. This is probably not going to be the name of the podcast. I don't know what to call it yet at this point. But right now, I just wanted to start an NFL podcast. It's something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. It's something, slash YouTube channel. I cannot get enough of the NFL. I love the NFL. It is it takes up a lot of my time, unfortunately. But I want to be use that for something else besides just keeping all of these different stats and thoughts to myself all the time. The people who I can talk football with have their own lives that they, have to live, and unfortunately, no one I know is paying the bills talking about the NFL. I'm not paying the bills talking about the NFL, so this is kind of just a side hobby. This is something that I love talking about, and for a majority of the time that I'll be talking today, I'm pretty much just gonna be talking. I'll recap from week 2. If you want to get some more information on maybe what's coming up with week 3, any preview shows with any of that, I would say definitely go check out the Matthew R. Scott Sports Show on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. I show up there almost weekly to talk NFL, but he's got a ton of other stuff on there. He just finished up talking about college football and tennis. He does a really thorough job covering everything that's going on in sports, and you should go check that out. But let's just get to it. The first game I want to talk about was the Falcons and Vikings. I am a cheesehead myself. I'm a Packers fan. So I was super interested to see what this Vikings team actually was. I didn't think the Bears team was that good. It was worse than I expected, but we'll get to that. The Vikings looked pretty bad, and I think the main thing was just the offensive line for the Vikings just was awful. It seemed like J.J. McCarthy had no time to throw, and I was surprised when the stats didn't quite back that up. I mean, they were kind of mid, and so I was like, "What is happening with this?" And I think more than anything, the Falcons pass rush just was able to get home. Their first round picks are coming in. They're making plays. They've got other rookies that are making plays in the secondary. As a GM, that's exactly what you're hoping for. And in addition to that, I think the Falcons' run game was phenomenal. Bijan Robinson is as good as he's ever looked. There's a lot of upside to this Falcons team. I picked the Falcons to win this game. They didn't do as good as I was hoping they would, and they are not as good as I thought they were going to be. But they've got a lot of upside. Michael Penix Jr. is making his way into where he needs to be. And going back to the Vikings side, there's a lot of hope for this Vikings team, especially the defense, which looked really good for the most part, except for the run game, which can go game to game. The main thing is with the offense. How much of a leash does J.J. McCarthy have before this offense starts getting frustrated? Before Justin Jefferson says, "Look, I gotta get my targets, man. Something has to happen. This is a team. We did phenomenal last year with Sam Darnold. We want to see improvement from the kid at the very least." And unfortunately, we're not going to get that. He just suffered. It looks like J.J. McCarthy is going to be out this week with this coming week with an injury. But like I said, I'm not going to do recap today. We'll probably talk about that on the Matthew R. Scott Sports Show. So just tune into that to see what we think about that. The Chiefs-Eagles, I've been saying this. The main thing that was going around online about this game was the tush push, the multiple players false starting on the Eagles, not getting called. At one point, a Chiefs player came up with the ball after a tush push, and just there's no way to officiate it. There's so many bodies all in the same spot that you just can't you can't actually see what's going on. You just are guessing pretty much the entire time. It's a terrible play to officiate. In addition to that, though, um, I think the biggest thing with the tush push is just making sure that people are lining up correctly, like it would be any other formation. Over and over again, it seems like every member of the offensive line of the Eagles is a solid inch over the ball on the other side. And it just seems like if you were to just make them run the QB sneak in a formation that is legal, that would take care of the problem. You don't even have to ban the play. You don't have to do any of that. Just officiate the game the way that it's supposed to be done. And that's all I'm asking. Patrick Mahomes is absolutely nuts. He could use any help that he could get. It's unfortunate that Mahomes is playing as well as he is, and yet they are 0-2. Just two back-to-back amazing games. And then on the opposite end, Jalen Hurts looks honestly pretty terrible. I mean, I've got a few stats saved that just blew my mind on how much Jalen Hurts seems like he's not good. Jalen Hurts had the longest time to throw by far. In week 1 and week 2, and his depth of target was also the lowest. So and I talked about this in Matthew's podcast this last week. Jalen Hurts is so much around him, and that wins the games. It does. I imagine that a team that has both a good quarterback and some good pieces should be able to beat this team. I thought the Cowboys should have beat them last week, in week 1, but as of now, the Eagles are 2-0. So I don't know what to make of this team. It seems like they can't be beat, and they're going against the Cowboys, who are looking better than we thought they were, and the Chiefs, who are, until I see otherwise, are still going to be Super Bowl contenders. This week might have knocked them down a notch, and they definitely look off this year, but I don't know what to make of either of these teams yet. I am excited to see where each of these teams comes up later in how these teams, what becomes of these teams later in the year. The Chiefs really need some weapons for Patrick Mahomes. They'll pretty much just be waiting for Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice to get back. I think once you get that, that team is going to be really scary, actually. Colts at Dolphins. This one was tough. I thought that the leverage penalty called was pretty soft, pretty ticky-tacky. The field goal that the Broncos missed looked exactly the same, if not more leverage, and it wasn't called in that scenario. I would just say, if you're going to call those penalties, you've got to call it both ways and be consistent. You can't just with 0 seconds on the clock decide what the game is going to be. I mean, this could easily decide. That one call could very easily decide a division. It could decide playoff seeding. Like this, that could have massive implications for both of these teams. And I don't think that the better team won. And Matthew's gonna be upset with me because he's a Colts fan, but I do think that the Broncos outplayed the Colts. And it wasn't by much. It was very, very little. If you look at the EPA numbers, it was almost 1-1, but the Broncos did outperform. I just think that you can't have a game end on a penalty like that and not have it at least be reviewable or have some way to be able to check and balance these things, because again, The Broncos should have had their field goal made, or maybe not made, but the Broncos should have had a second chance at their field goal 15 yards closer as well, just a little bit earlier in the game, based off of the exact same look. I mean, if you watch them side by side, black put everything in black and white, and you couldn't tell which team was which, you wouldn't be able to tell the kicks apart. And it's just super unfortunate that the game ended like that because there was a lot of stuff that I liked from this game. Bo Nix looks so much better from week one. If you're a Broncos fan, I'm still super hyped for him. I'm super hyped for this offense. The defense looked a little shaky at times, but I again wouldn't worry about it. And same with the Colts defense; it looked a little off, and yet I still feel confident in this Colts team. I think these were just two evenly matched teams with offenses that were, I think, performing over expectation against defenses who were performing under expectation. Last thing is Daniel Jones. I saw someone say Indiana Jones for nickname. That's phenomenal. Daniel Indianapolis Jones, man, he is killing it. It is hilarious to me that Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson are the two yards leaders after week 2, excluding Monday Night Football. That's just kind of crazy to me. Who would have expected? It's a lame cliche, but not on my bingo card. Whatever. Seahawks and Steelers. Rodgers still looks good. I've always cheered for Rodgers. When he was on the Jets, I was cheering for him. He's a Steeler now. I'm cheering for him. He looks good. He's not the Aaron Rodgers that played for the Packers, but he's still got an arm, man. He can put it wherever he wants in the field. The pressure gets to him, though, and I think that that's going to come back to bite the Steelers as they go throughout this season. This offensive line is going to have to hold up in order to give Rodgers enough time to find the people that he needs to find. If that happens, this Steelers offense is scary. Rodgers should have had an additional touchdown and one less pick. It was, a receiver almost catching the ball but not catching it and then flipping it up into the air for the corner, the defensive back to grab. It's just, dude, that's a 14-point swing. It's absolutely nuts, and it's not something that you can recover from easily. I think that the Seahawks played really well, especially at that defensive line. They had Rodgers under pressure the entire game. But I think if it wasn't for that play and the muffed kickoff, it's just so unfortunate. I think this game was a lot closer than the score says. You've got to look at both of these teams and say these teams are both pretty mid. I don't expect the Seahawks to get far. I don't expect the Steelers to get far. They might both make the playoffs, but even that is they're going to be on the wild cards. If the Seahawks can win the division, which looks possible, the 49ers are already banged up. The Cardinals don't look good. The Rams look good, but if Stafford goes down for any amount of time, I would be worried about them. I mean, the Seahawks have a chance to take this division if they want it, and I just don't see that happening. I'm guessing that both of these teams are not division winners. Steelers definitely are not. The Ravens will have that under control, but I could see the Steelers making a wild card spot and maybe even knocking someone out of the playoffs. I don't see them going that much further than that, though. Giants at Cowboys. This game was insane. Absolutely nuts. And if it wasn't for the Cowboys having the best kicker in the game, Brandon Aubrey, the Giants would have won this game. Straight up, it's insane that a 64-yard field goal is automatic and would have been good for another who knows how long. I mean, it looked like it would have been good from 70 plus. And I'll do credit to Dak and the Cowboys offense for putting their kicker in a position to tie it up. All respect for the Cowboys defense for forcing multiple punts and an interception in overtime to put that put the offense in that position. The Cowboys deserve to win that game, and their team did what they needed to do that. The Giants' offense looks way better than I thought it was going to be. It looked way better than the week before. Defense looks a lot worse. Oh, there's a mosquito. Hopefully that didn't wreck the mic or anything. Okay. So as far as, yes, Cowboys, Giants. So Giants defense didn't look nearly as good as I thought they were going to be this year. I thought that this Giants team was going to get more wins than expected based off of this defense. And now it looks like they might get more wins based off of this offense, specifically Malik Neighbors. I said last week on the Matthew R. Scott Sports Show that if Brian Dable wants to keep his job, he's got to get Dart in there or make Russell Wilson look like he's just got to make Russell Wilson look better. If Russell Wilson is looking poor and Dart isn't coming in, Dable's not going to keep that job for long. Head coach of the Giants, I would say that Brian Dable's, done one of those things, at least in game 2. The Russell Wilson looked really, really good. And he's still got the touch. He's still got the deep ball. I mean, you gotta give it to him, man. When they needed him. Unfortunately, that final moon ball was just it's a bit too many shots at 3 safeties, all covering Malik Neighbors, and that one just didn't turn out. Moving on to 49ers and Saints. Both of these teams looked kind of mid facing each other. The 49ers outperformed the Saints, but this Saints offense looks decent. I mean, they look pretty good. And I know that the 49ers defense isn't what it has been in the last couple years, but they've still got a lot of pieces on that side of the ball. Robert Shaw is coaching that up. I think he's a phenomenal defensive coordinator. The Saints are not the worst team in the league. I would put the Saints above the Panthers. I'd put them probably above the Bears at this point. I would put them above the Dolphins. The Saints are actually decent, and starting 0-2 sucks, but I expect them to get a couple more wins, especially going against that NFC South. I expect them to beat the Panthers. This is one of those things that you just don't have the pieces yet, and you're in cap hell. You've got to find a way to offload that and restart, and maybe Spencer Rattler is the way to do that. It doesn't look like it so far. Going to the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey looks amazing, running back. He's looking a lot better. Looks like the MVP Christian McCaffrey. There's a lot of similarities between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, and I would say that Brock Purdy is definitely an upgrade to Mac Jones. But at the contract that Purdy's on, I wouldn't say that he's that much of an upgrade. I think Purdy makes his reads and his decisions about a quarter of a second faster than Mac Jones can. And that's super important for a Kyle Shanahan offense, which runs off of timing. It runs off of beating the defensive scheme. And but Mac Jones looked good. I was expecting Mac Jones to look good with Kyle Shanahan. A lot of people say, well, if Mac Jones is just, a little bit worse than Purdy. Why'd they sign Purdy for so much? Well, you still need a starting quarterback, and having the Mac Jones played the Saints, guys. I know I said they're not the worst team in the league, but they're still probably bottom 5. I wouldn't put too much into this. I wouldn't put too much into this game. I do expect the Saints to end the season with more wins than the Bears. Dolphins at Patriots. Dolphins defense is absolutely awful. They've got such a bad defense. I don't know if they've even stopped one possession from scoring. It's absolutely insane how bad this Dolphins team is. Tua had a little bit of a bounce back game this game. They looked a lot better on offense, but there were still some really big misses from clean pockets where Tua just either is underthrowing receivers or just missing him, overthrowing. Like, it's just I want Tua to succeed. I really like him, and it's just it doesn't seem to be working right now. And I can't imagine that Mike McDaniel is going to be around for that much longer if the team keeps playing like this. You've got to find some ways to be able to get your playmakers the ball, and that's it. As far as the Patriots go, Drake May looked good. He's going to be, I think, and I'll talk about this when we get to the Bears game. I would bet that taking it back, Drake May would be Ben Johnson's choice at quarterback, if not, multiple of the other rookies in that draft. But yeah, I think that the Patriots have a guy in Drake May. Mike Vrabel was, I think, a really good coaching choice for this team. And then one last thing with this game, absolutely insane. A punt return touchdown from the Dolphins. The Patriots punted away. Dolphins returned it for a touchdown. Absolutely game-changing play. Dolphins have all this momentum. Looks like they're going to win the game. And then on the following kickoff back to the Patriots, it is returned for a touchdown. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy. It completely flips the game back on its head. It absolutely, that was what won the game, I think, in that scenario. The Dolphins had all of the momentum, all of the positive vibes, I guess. They had the lead. They could run the ball with what they had. The clock was, I think there was like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like, Dolphins have this in the bag, and then boom, Patriots are leading again. All of a sudden, Tua's got to make a drive to get back down the field. Yeah, absolutely nuts. As far as Bengals Jaguars, I think the Jaguars should have won that game. A few calls went the wrong way. Travis Hunter looked phenomenal on defense. I thought that the pass interference call that was late in the fourth quarter was just about picture perfect coverage. Hand on the hip, not grabbing at arms, turn your head, make a play on the ball. It was absolutely perfect. And called pass interference. It on a fourth and 5, it just that's not what you want to see. Again, with refs changing the outcomes of games, this is again another one that can. The Jaguars losing this game could be the difference between being a division winner and making the playoffs or not winning the division, and there's too many teams ahead of you and you're out. Like, this is crazy that these calls can change the entire layout of the league, and they're not reviewable, and they're just it decides the game. It's tough. With the Jaguars again, Brian Thomas Jr., does not look like he wants to play football. I mean, I think if it wasn't for, I mean, if not for that call, I think more than anything, the reason that the Jaguars lost is Brian Thomas Jr. just didn't seem like he was in it. Didn't want to play. Was shying away from contact in places where, I mean, dude, you're a wide receiver. This is football. You're gonna come into contact with people. You've got to make the catches. Taking his eyes off of the ball, not playing to the full play. Like it looked really bad. I oh man, I don't know what to do if you're coach in this situation, because that's your wide receiver one and you want to get him targets. But even when he was getting targets, I think I heard something where he was like 4 for 12 and 3 of them were drops. And like he was getting the targets. It just he's not making the most of them, and he's not doing what he needs to do. You can't have that, and that can lead to some locker room problems pretty quick. Um, Onto the Bengals side, the biggest thing with the Bengals is Joe Burrow went out with a grade 3 turf toe injury. So that will require surgery, which means that he'll be out for about 3 months or so. Coming back in mid-December, at that point, I mean, maybe the Bengals with Jake Browning are still in the playoff run, and Joe Burrow can try to get them into the spot, and then you see what happens. But it's really, really unfortunate for the Bengals. It's unfortunate for football. I don't see very many wins coming down the road here coming up. It's just tough. It's awful. I feel for Bengals fans. I feel for that team. At the same time, you're paying Jamar Chase and you're paying T. Higgins, and you couldn't sign a couple offensive linemen to protect Joe Burrow. Dude, this is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. This is your team. And so you've got to do what you can for those two guys. T. Higgins, I think, is maybe something along with Chase. It takes one guy that you've got to actually make sure you guard. You can't triple team Chase every play. But more than that, I mean, Joe Burrow has had injury issues pretty much his whole career, and it's not because he's injury prone. It's because he gets sacked every third play. And it's tough to live like that. I don't know why the Bengals don't have a medical cart. I just found that out. They had to literally just carry Joe Burrow to the locker room. And I don't just get a cart, man. What multi-billion-dollar NFL, and your $1 million franchise in that, and I don't know, whatever. Jake Browning looked good at times and looked terrible at times. He threw 3 interceptions. He ended up winning the game for him. It's tough because it seems like this offense doesn't come down that much when Jake Browning gets in, and you'd think it comes down a lot with how much we talk up Joe Burrow and how much we think of him, and yet Jake Browning comes in and it's kind of it's going from A to a B minus. And you'd think that with how amazing Joe Burrow is, that would go down to a D. But maybe Jake Browning is just really good. I don't know. It's that kind of stumps me. We'll see how that plays out the rest of the season. Rams at Titans again. Titans fans can pretty much just take away what they took away from the first game. Cam Ward is really good. He needs some help on offense. He needs some help with play calling. He needs some help with people actually being where they need to be, doing what they need to do. Yeah, the Titans can be good in a few years if the front office and coaching does what they need to do to get Cam Ward where he needs to be. Because Cam Ward is playing really well. And I think he's going to be a very good quarterback for a long time, unless he turns into one of these Andrew Luck situations where for years and years he's really the only piece on that team, and eventually it just wears too much on him. I mean, he is getting sacked over and over and over again. He's taken so many hits, and yet continues to run around, dish the ball where it needs to go. The Titans were winning at half at one point. It was a closer game in the first half, and it kind of fell away from them because the Rams are just a better team, and they've got a lot more pieces. And Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are phenomenal. I think they're both wide receiver ones still. I mean, they've got a ton of really awesome young pieces on the defense. This Rams team could really do a lot if Stafford stays healthy, and if the young guys, especially in the secondary on that defense, can really progress and level up. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams took up 22 of the 32 targets that Matthew Stafford threw. I mean, essentially 2/3 of all of your passes are going to one of those two guys. That makes all the sense in the world. They're both phenomenal. They struggle in the red zone, and I think that's because both Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams right now are excel in man coverage, and there's a lot less of that in the red zone, because you can't get fast slants and digs. You're in the red zone. It's just so much more condensed. You can play zone and cover areas of the field that you wouldn't normally be able to cover if it wasn't red zone. And I think that's why the Rams are struggling in the red zone. If they can get a run game going a little bit more, I think that can be fixed pretty easily. Panthers at Cardinals. Ted McMillan looks really, really good. He looks really awesome. He's going to be a good wide receiver for a long time in this league. The Panthers looked pretty good in the second half, and this is the Panthers team that I was expecting to see coming into this year, with Bryce Young taking a little bit of a step, Dave Canales figuring out his offense, the way he wants to run it here in with the Panthers, and I want to see that for an entire game. I don't want having it just in the second half against the Cardinals, a Cardinals team which is good but not great. I want to see this a little more consistently. If we can get that, the Panthers will eke out a couple more wins than we expect, maybe, but it's still not looking good. The first half looked pretty terrible. On the Cardinals side, they've played the Panthers and Saints this year, and they've both been close games. I thought I saw something building with this Cardinals team, and it feels like it's not actually building too much. And the games that they're playing are close against teams that we view as bottom 5, at least bottom 10 teams. It's just kind of tough. I want to believe the Cardinals are building something bigger, especially on defense. I got to see it against someone else besides the Panthers and Saints before I start saying that this team is actually building something and going somewhere. Going to Bears and Lions. If I was Ben Johnson and I got the first overall pick in the year that my mind blanked. Caleb Williams was drafted. If I'm Ben Johnson drafting in that draft, I would probably take Penix, McCarthy, Nix, Daniels, and May. Not in that order, but I would take all 5 of the other first round picks in that draft over Caleb Williams. All of them have played better so far, and I think McCarthy's probably at the lowest end of that list. But I mean, McCarthy won in week 1 against the Bears, and I as a Packer fan, I love it when the Bears do terrible, and I think it's hilarious that every single year the Bears are off-season champs and they're gonna win the North. Everything is on the up and up. There's a ton of crap talking, and and it just feels like by week 5, all hope is lost. This last year, it lasted until week 6 with the Washington Hail Mary that pretty much ended the Bears season. If I'm Ben Johnson, I don't know how you can keep Caleb Williams rolling like this. I mean, how long until Caleb Williams gets benched? I mean, we were talking about J.J. McCarthy getting benched possibly in week 2. They didn't bench him. I would have said they probably bench him week 3, but now he's injured. How long before Ben Johnson benches Caleb Williams? I mean, Caleb Williams is so erratic, and his lows, his floor is just so low. And if you're Ben Johnson, that just doesn't work in that system. I'm concerned for this Bears team and this organization because they're essentially strapped to this kid who I don't think Ben Johnson is going to be able to stand by the end of this year. And what are you supposed to do with this generational talent at quarterback that went first overall? Yikes! I don't have high hopes for that team, and that's nice for me. The Lions looked like the Ben Johnson offense-led Lions and the Aaron Glenn-led defensive Lions. I mean, they look really, really, really good. Amon-Ra with three touchdown passes. It's crazy. It makes me think that either A, the Packers defense is actually generational, or B, that was a week 1 game and that we'll have to play even better coming up later in the year against the Lions. I can't tell at this point. The Lions look really good though. And I'm super excited for Monday Night Football with the Lions and Ravens. I think that'll be a true acid test for the Lions. Of course, the Packers were as well, but the Packers are also. It was also week 1, and sometimes that can be a liar. So we'll move on. Talk about the Ravens. Browns at Ravens. The Browns defense looked pretty good, and it has looked good for 2 weeks. At some point, the Browns just don't have the players to be able to compete, and the Ravens just overpower you. The Ravens are so good. Somehow the Browns held Derrick Henry to 23 yards rushing, and yet the Ravens still put up 40 plus points. So it'll be interesting to see them it'll be interesting to see them host Green Bay. I think that the line opened up at 7.5 to Green Bay, and it's already jumped to 9.5. Could this be a trap game? I don't know. We'll talk about that in Matthew R. Scott Sports Show. For now, I would say with the Browns, I definitely see what they're building. They've got a ton of young players that are making plays. Myles Garrett looks as good as he's ever looked. He looks so good. And as long as the front office keeps making the moves that they've been making with this, I think that they are building a team that can produce in a year or two. Not much to say on the Ravens. The Ravens are so good. They should have won week 1. They should be 2-0. I think if I met a team in the Super Bowl, the Ravens are the one team that I would not want to play right now. I mean, and the Bills, all credit to the Bills. The Bills look phenomenal. The Ravens are the team that I don't want to play. And I know that's coming off of week 1 where the Bills just beat the Ravens. The Ravens outplayed the Bills until the last 6 minutes of the game. And yeah, I mean, this team is insane. That's all I got to say on that. Lastly, Bills and Jets. The Jets look so bad. The Jets look so bad, and I've been kind of cheering for the Jets. I mean, ever since Aaron Rodgers got traded to the Jets, they've been my AFC team that I cheer for. And part of that is I just in general love to cheer for the underdog. I always like cheering for the team that's destined to lose because it's fun to be able to have some success come out of nowhere. And I feel for the fans that actually cheer for this team over and over. I, as a Packers fan, have never had that issue. So it's tough to have that as a secondary team, but they're really fun. They didn't look fun. It didn't look good when they played the Bills. And part of that is just the Bills are just a phenomenal team. They're so good. Josh Allen is a football team in and of himself. I mean, he can run, he can pass, he can do everything that you need. Any quarter, and he does it all phenomenally. He's so good at everything. And you pair that with James Cook, who went crazy to playing the Jets, and a Bills defense that bounced back against the after playing the Ravens. I was expecting a super high scoring game between these two teams. I was expecting the Steelers defense to be a really good defense, and so when the Jets put 32 on them, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a shootout. And the Bills defense held stout, and Justin Fields looked like Chicago Bears Justin Fields. The week 2 is hard because you say week 1 is a liar, and maybe week 1 is, but what if week 2 is a liar too? It's hard to tell exactly what these teams are. I am confident that the Bills will win the division, that they are a deep playoff team. I would be, at this point, pretty surprised if it's not the Chargers, the Bills, or the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. I can't think of anyone else who I would put up there at this point. I don't see anyone else making it. Maybe if the Colts keep playing like they've been playing, or the Jaguars can maybe get some luck on their side. At this point, though, there's only 3 AFC teams that I see even going to the conference to represent the conference, and that, Bills, Ravens, Chargers. We'll see how the Chargers play tonight against the Raiders. I've got the Chargers winning that one, and I picked the Bucks. I've gone back and forth on the Bucks and the who are the Bucks playing? Texans. I've gone back and forth on this game. I think really this game comes down to the Texans' phenomenal defense against the Baker Mayfield-led explosive offense. And Baker's going to have to do a lot to win this game, I think. And it's not going to have, and it's going to have to not just be Baker though. Like, you're going to have to be able to run the ball so that this amazing defensive line of the Texans can't just rush the passer every time. They can't put their nose on the ground and just charge right at Baker Mayfield. You've got to get a run game going. If the Bucs can do that, I'm guessing I think they can win. I haven't seen very much from the Texans offense, and I haven't seen very much from the Bucs defense either. So it should be an interesting game. I think this comes down to turnovers, and again, which is better, the Texans defense or the Bucs offense? I think that will be the decider in this game. And then Chargers Raiders. I have the Chargers picked pretty confidently here. the Chargers defense is playing really well. Justin Herbert's playing out of his mind. I think the coaching is running really well. Everything is running really smoothly. I would be pretty surprised if the Raiders can pull off a win here. It is a division game. Those can always go kind of crazy, but I can't see a world where the Chargers lose this game, especially after coming off of such a dominant win with extra rest. I see the Chargers routing the Raiders, putting up 10 plus points more than the Raiders. That's my prediction, and that's the show, I guess. Recapped all the games from week 2. Did a pregame. I guess. What is it called? Just told you what my expectations were for Monday Night Football, and we'll come back to that on probably Wednesday this week with the Matthew R. Scott Sports Show. Tune into that to see what we think of what's going to come up in week 3. And hopefully I'll have a intro and outro here at some point. But for now, I just wanted to talk football, and we'll probably do this a lot more often. Thanks.